Okay, when you picture the most successful pirate in all of history, who pops into your head? Is it Blackbeard? Maybe Calico Jack? Well, what if I told you the single most dominant pirate of all time wasn't a man at all, but a woman who commanded a fleet so massive entire empires were terrified of her?
Yeah, the answer is probably not who you're thinking of. It's a name that, especially in the West, has kind of been lost to history. And honestly, her real story is way more incredible than any pirate movie you've ever seen.
So let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale here. You take a guy like Blackbeard, the most famous pirate in the world. At the absolute peak of his power, he had maybe 4 ships. Zheng Yi Sao, she commanded a fleet of over 400 ships. And believe it or not, that isn't even the most mind-blowing number.
Get this. At its height, her pirate confederation had 70,000 pirates under her direct command. That's not a crew. That's a floating nation. It's an army bigger than most actual navies at the time. This is the story of Zheng Yi Sao, and we're about to break down exactly how she clawed her way up from the very bottom of society to become the undisputed ruler of the South China Sea.
Section 1. An unlikely rise to power. So her story doesn't begin on the high seas. It begins in a floating brothel. Her path to becoming a pirate legend was, let's just say, unconventional. And it all started with one very strategic marriage that changed the course of history.
So in 1801, she marries this formidable pirate commander, Zheng Yi. But she was never just the pirate's wife. No, she was a partner, an advisor. She was instrumental in forging a massive confederation of rival pirate fleets. But then, in 1807, her husband dies suddenly in a storm. Chaos erupts, leaving this huge power vacuum. And right there, that was her moment.
Section 2. The widow takes command. Now, with her husband gone, this whole pirate alliance was about to completely fall apart. But Zheng Yi Sao didn't just stop it from collapsing. She pulled off a series of brilliant political moves to seize total control for herself.
I mean, her playbook was just genius. First, she immediately locks down alliances with the most powerful pirate captains. Then she forges this critical partnership with her husband's adopted son, Zhang Bao, who she would actually later marry. By taking informal command herself and then installing the loyal Zhang Bao as the official commander of the strongest fleet, she basically checkmated all her rivals. It was a political masterstroke.
Section 3. Ruling the South China Sea. Okay, so with her power base secure, Zheng Yi Sao unleashes her red flag fleet. And for years, she was the absolute undisputed ruler of the South China Sea, striking fear into the hearts of merchants and global empires. Her fleet wasn't just raiding a few ships here and there. No, they controlled entire vital trade routes. She crushed the Chinese Qing Navy over and over again, and even went head-to-head with superpowers like the British and the Portuguese. Her raids were devastating. We're talking campaigns that could leave 10,000 people dead. And this wasn't chaos. It was a highly organized operation run under a strict code of laws. This rule about plunder is amazing. It shows that individual pirates only got to keep 20% of the loot. The other 80% went into a public fund to keep the entire confederation armed, supplied, and powerful.
But here's where things get really interesting. A little historical correction for you. A lot of popular stories say Zheng Yi Sao wrote this code herself. The actual historical records, though, they show it was written by her commander and new husband, Zhang Bao. So he may have written the rules, but make no mistake, she was the one enforcing them with an iron will. Of course, no empire lasts forever. Intense mounting pressure from the Portuguese Navy, combined with some cracks forming inside her own confederation, like a whole fleet defecting, well, it started to weaken her grip. The tide was beginning to turn against her.
Section 4. The Art of the Surrender. This brings us to what might be her single greatest act of genius. Seeing that her position was becoming weaker, she didn't just wait around to be defeated. Instead, she decided to orchestrate her own exit strategy.
And let's be clear, she wasn't crawling to the government begging for mercy. She was still an incredibly powerful force to be reckoned with. She walked into those negotiations not as a criminal, but as a rival power, ready to dictate her own terms. The negotiation was just masterful. The government wanted her and her pirates prosecuted. She demanded a full pardon for every single one of them. And she got it. They wanted her totally disarmed. She demanded to keep her own private fleet.
And she got it. She even made them officially sanction her marriage. She won on pretty much every single point.
Section 5. A pirate's peaceful retirement. And this all leads to an ending that is almost unheard of in the history of piracy. She didn't just survive her career, she absolutely thrived after it.
Think about it. Blackbeard died in a bloody, brutal battle. Zheng Yi Sao, she retired with all her treasure. She went on to open a very successful gambling house and lived out a long, prosperous life, dying peacefully in her bed at age 68. You could say that was her final, and maybe her greatest victory.
So, the story of Zheng Yi Sao isn't just about being a pirate. It's about strategy, it's about politics, and it's about outsmarting giants. She built an empire from nothing, she ruled the seas, and when she saw the writing on the wall, she cashed out and won the entire game. So I'll just leave you with this. How many pirates in all of history can really say they got their own happy ending?